Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
Kayak Bass Nation is presented by Dugout Bait and Tackle. Go to dugoutfishing.com to find everything you need for your next kayak bass fishing tournament.
Hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego.
Also sponsored by Revo Sunglasses. Go to revo.com, use code KBN25 to save 25% off your next order. Revo, best lenses on earth. Also sponsored by Western Sun Vodka. Go to westernsundistillery.com and use the bottle finder to find a bottle near you.
Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great start to your week. What's up, my man? How you doing, Ryan?
Living the dream, buddy. Trying not to get a cold.
Uh-oh. You sound a little snotty.
We had an outdoor little shindig Saturday night down in Jasper, Georgia, and it was freezing to death. It's a terrible time for an outside low country boil. But
yeah, I got you. How you feeling after the weekend of football, my friend?
That probably contributes to it as well. I missed half of it because we were at that birthday party, and I come back and watched the second half of the South Carolina massacre. I don't know what what was happening there, and then of course our Heisman quarterback tore his ACL. So,
man, I've been pulling for the Vols all year.
Football.
You know, I've been a bandwagon riding Vols fan all season, and I think that upset me more than the loss was seeing that kid go down like that with that ACL.
Buddy, that was rough. I mean, it's one thing to watch your playoff chances blow up, but to see him go out like that was sad.
That hurts, man. That hurts. Arkansas got bowl eligible, so we'll see them in the Liberty or Birmingham Bowl. So good for them. Proud of them. But now it's basketball season. We're full on basketball season. So here we go. But tonight we talk kayak fishing. We got Cody Milton.
This is a kayak fishing podcast.
Yeah, we got Cody Milton in here. The AOY of both Hobie and KBF.
He's the AOY of life. I feel like if he would have fished bass, he would have won it too.
Yeah. You know, former number one KBN Power Rank angler. He's living up to the hype every year ever since then. So I think that's what catapulted him into
that
success.
was it.
That's probably it. But also from Arkansas, so repping Arkansas, proud. I'm proud. Cody, way to go. But yeah, we got him in here tonight. We're going to talk to him about his AOY. Both his AOY victories. I don't even think he pursued the bass one this year. He could have had the triple.
No, I don't know. We were talking about that last week. I don't know if he fished a bass event.
I know last year he went ahead and clipped that Lake Fork trophy and said to hell with it and just rolled with the rest of them.
Yeah, he's got one to put on the shelf. He's good now.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll ask about his plans for next year. Maybe he'll try to get all three next year. So we'll see. But we'll get him in here in a minute. As always, we like to shout out the sponsors before we get rolling. Show's presented by Dugout Bait and Tackle. They got a great Black Friday deal going this week, Ryan. I got a graphic right here. Let me throw this thing up.
There you go.
Look at this.
So this is a KBN special here.
Yeah.
So KBN or 25 KBN. Don't be fooled with our KBN 25 promo code for Revo, but 25% off hard baits. And this runs for 5 days, where the Black Friday special that is store wide is just Friday, Saturday. So don't get mixed up there.
There you go. So this is online only right here, the KBN special.
Yeah.
25 KBN on all hard baits. So when you need to stock up on hard baits, I always was one to use that Tackle Warehouse deal. I think it's like 20% off a lot of their junk on whatever. But this is better than that. So use Dugout on Black Friday. 25% is, in my math, is better than 20%. So it's better than
5%,
better than Bass Pros,
roughly.
better than the other websites. So hook up Dugout. Let me throw that back up one more time. You can do that right now. Today's the 21st. So now you can go use 25 KBN on dugoutfishing.com and hook that up. So
stay on the live stream, but open another window
Yes.
and order while you listen.
That's right. Multitask. Get it done. And then, of course, Ryan already said the code for Revo. KBN 25. It's the opposite. So get over to revo.com and get yourself a little stocking stuffer. Revo, best lenses on earth. We don't do like the pro staff guys and announce our sponsorships that just re-upped, but we are partnering with Revo for another year, and we're excited about that. So we'll announce that right now. We're partnering with them for another year. We're glad they're back with us, and we're real happy with the products. Everybody that's gotten the products has been real happy with it. So get over there and get you a pair, and I think you will be too. And then like on Ryan's desk right there, Western Sun Vodka, the OG sponsor of the live stream. Appreciate them. I think your Thanksgiving would be more bearable if you go grab you a big bottle of vodka to watch the football in the afternoon. Eat a big turkey.
Watermelon and strawberry. We've approved recently.
Yeah, you'll be asleep by 4:00. Turkey and vodka, you'll be good to go. But yeah, so if you're watching this, wherever you're watching from, hook us up and share this, especially on Facebook. Hit share. If you're on Twitter, hit retweet. I guess what it is now, the new Twitter over there. Hit retweet.
The new
buy you an $8 check mark.
The free smelling Twitter.
Yeah. And if you're on YouTube, just leave us a comment and let us know where you're watching from over on YouTube. We appreciate you over there. All three of the audiences have been growing lately, so we appreciate anyone wherever you're watching from. So there you go.
Thank you to the growers.
The growers. We're growers, not showers around here. That's what we do. What else would you talk about, Ryan, before we get Cody?
The Georgia Bass Nation, they had their state championship on a Hobie BOS Lake that you'll see on their schedule next year, Seminole, and Joshua Deal smashed them. I think he had 93 inches on day one and was disappointed by that. So he went out there on day two and cracked them pretty good.
That's the real deal. Real deal.
The real deal. Yeah.
Real deal. And our boy, Dylan Lowry.
Dylan Lowry got up there. He tried to make a run at it. Dylan said he's having some trouble keeping some fish pinned, so we're going to practice in the off season.
Ryan Van Tyne said 2 KBN 5 is the Western Sun code. No, we don't have a Western Sun code. Legally, you can't order that through the intranets, I don't think. So unless there's an app for
bottle
it,
finder.
Yeah, we can't do that. Bottle finder. So there you go. Yeah, congrats to Josh over there. I think that pretty much wraps up tournament season. It's kind of a late championship, but there's some trails already starting. Doesn't Tennessee start 2023 in 2022? Isn't that how that goes?
The Tin Cats guys up there in Knoxville had their first tournament this past weekend, I think. I'm not a big fan of that, so
that's wild.
Marshall calling out Dylan. He used to shaking off 22s, got him rolling on a swim jig's his favorite line.
Yeah. These clubs be rolling on fiscal years instead of calendar years. It's crazy. All right, let's get Cody in here, man.
Let's do it.
Let's talk to Cody Milton. What's up, Cody?
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Good. You're going to be a regular on here, bro.
I like it.
Hey,
see,
pan that a little bit to your left.
I was going to say, there was some debate in the comments. Are you the Jordan of kayak fishing? And then some disrespectful person said, or is he the LeBron? Cody's not fake, all right? He's not the LeBron. He's not out there flopping. We'll give him the Jordan title. I think we can go with that.
I grew up in the LeBron era. I'm not. That's the draft I remember. So I'm not upset with either.
Okay. You're up in the. You're not a flopper though, are you, Cody?
You're too real for that.
Try not to.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna let that happen. Somebody said were you at least the Magic Johnson? I don't know. I don't know what that was referring to, but on that.
Weird. Well, man. We talked about this last week when we had Nelly on here about winning the TOC. I hate to call it shocking because it wasn't shocking. You were up high in the standings, but everybody looking at the standings during the TOC, including Ryan and myself, thought it was like a shootout at the end there between the Minor brothers.
Completely discounted you, Cody. I'm sorry about that.
We didn't really do the math. We just said, oh, they're up there high and they've got high finishes, and now they're up there in the top 10. Well, just like normal, just strong and steady Cody comes sliding on in there and gets the AOY. Did you do the math in your head before the end of that tournament and think you had it won or?
I knew Jason Broach called me. So if he ever calls with numbers, like you, close. So that was like my first tip. But no, other than that, I just as easily thought I'd finish third as I did first. Like I knew. I think Russ. I talked to Russ. I knew they only had 4 fish. I think Christine was up there, and I knew she had a tough day. But no, man, I really didn't know it. And to be honest, I would have thought that I would have needed more. But I mean, I also knew it was going to be tough that last day, and it really was. I mean, I probably had like 73, 74 inches at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 point. But it was honestly like that every day. Like I really pretty much caught most of my fish in the last hour and a half.
How was it weighted for the TOC this year? Was it 1.5 times?
Thought it was 1.5. And someone was telling me that it was actually the same. So
oh really?
Yeah, but I don't know if that is the case or not. But
I knew they changed it from double, but honestly I didn't pay enough attention to what they changed it to because I wasn't even in the ballpark of needing to know on that one.
Steve Fields is watching. Throw in the comments, Steve.
Steve don't know either. He's just glad to find the lake.
He's like, if it ain't a shotgun start, I don't care.
Yeah, but we were watching, like, we kind of had the rough math done as far as how far Ewing would have to finish in front of Russ or Nolan would have to finish in front of Ewing, all of that, but completely forgot about because you had like a second and a third or 2 seconds and a third or something like super tack driver consistent going into it. And I was like, well, shit, they would have had to beat Cody by like 14, 15 places to be able to knock him off, and nobody noticed that.
Coming through the back.
Yeah. When you I'm not going to say it. Okay. The Steve Fields hit us with the read the rules. Damn it, Steve.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
He's a pro.
Yeah. With the drops, when there's 9 events and you have drops, I guess you kind of can get lost in the mess there. You know what I mean? You just look at a couple of finishes and you look at the final event and you think, oh, well, it's got to be these people. And you don't go through and do the math and say, oh, wait a minute. This guy has his worst finish is a 14th. He's got to win, but he's also got a 14th. And then over here is Cody's just strong and steady. All your finishes were top 5s. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. Which one did you feel was harder to win? We can talk about the KBF AOY too, but there's a lot more events you can fish in KBF and the way they stack events on one weekend and all that kind of stuff. Which one did you feel like was harder to get?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the hardest to win the Hobie one, but in reality, it's like I feel like you gotta be a little luckier in the KBF one because of like the same. Like you have a lot of people that maybe just fished St. Clair and won both days, and then fished one other tournament, had a so-so event, and then had a good championship. So it was like I don't know, and I feel like there was a lot of people that were in that boat on that one. I feel like with the Hobie one, there was probably I don't know. I probably looked at like 6 to 7 people. I felt like that had a really good chance to win that Angler of the Year. I don't know. So I mean, as far as like they both just the championship matters. It seems like on both of them. Like you have to have 3 solid events at some point during the year, and then you need to have a really solid championship. I don't know. It's hard to answer. Like as far as just like from a fishing standpoint, like I would say like the Hobie one's definitely the hardest one. As far as just like I don't know, like running around the country, like making sure I'm keeping up with like what I need to do in certain tournaments, like probably the KBF one, because there was more people that had a chance to win it when it all came down to it. But I don't know. They definitely both mean a lot. I've never won the Hobie one before, so it's probably ranking a little higher right now.
Well, I think when you look at field size and even if you look at the AOY standings this year, the Hobie series was so much more competitive this year with having nearly 200 anglers in most all of their events. That made, there's a lot of names that, were in that top 50 to 60 anglers that, might not have even paid attention to it beforehand. They may have only fished one tournament, but this year it seemed like people were investing in it a lot more.
For sure.
And if the turnouts were similar, that would have made 4 out of 5, which is what Bass was. Makes that extremely difficult, but their turnouts weren't as high. So it's all 3 of them had their different nuances to try to win, right?
Yep.
So, in your mind, what do you like better? What do you think is a more all-encompassing viewpoint on AOY? Do you think it's every event, most events, a select 3 events? Like, what do you think as far as, and I think you probably would have won Hobie AOY no matter which cut you took of of those events unless you just said all 9 or something. But I mean, what do you like better? What do you think is really more recognizing of an angler?
I mean, and I mean, this isn't just like going Bassmaster, FLW, or any of the series there are now. But I mean, there's never really been a bass like nothing ever ends at the championships. Like your Angler of the Year, is for what happened during that year, in my opinion. I feel like the championships are a time where everyone kind of goes for broke, and if you don't catch them, it's fine. You're just happy to be there. So, like, I don't know. Like, personally, I like when it closes at the end of the last regular season event of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've definitely made up a lot of ground during those championships. So, like, I'm glad that that's been part of it. But I don't know. I like it ended during the regular personally.
I like that logic, as far as that taking an extra amount of pressure off. I do agree that you have to have a minimum number. I don't know if, like, for Hobie doing 9 events or whatever, is 3 too low of a number for Angler of the Year? I think maybe 5 events and drop the championship out. That way, when you're going out there and you're fishing for 50 grand, that's what you're focusing on, is fishing for 50 grand. So you're not trying to play safe chess moves to worry about an AOY deal instead of just going after it and trying to win the whole shebang there at the TOC.
Yeah, and I think that'll even be easier to do as, like, it really is the only time a lot of the top people get to be on the same body of water that are in the AOY race. So, like, I get that argument behind it too. It's like it's the only time everyone in the top 20 are getting to fish together. But I don't know. As the tournaments go on, more and more that's going to keep happening.
Yeah, Marshall, last year's AOY agrees with you, Cody. He says the championship counts because it's the first time they're all together.
Oh yeah.
It is, but that's the thing. If you increase the number of qualifying events for an AOY, then you will obviously increase the likelihood. If there's only 9 events and you say you have to fish 5, you and that other person have probably fished against each other in one of those 5 that you needed for the AOY. Not saying that it has to change, obviously. I think they did a great job with it this year. They listened to the feedback. It ended up actually knocking Edwin out of winning the AOY by going away from the 2x multiplier in the TOC, which is almost, kind of sad justice on the point system there. I had to poke Todd Miner a little bit after the results came out on that one. He's like, "Yep, that's math, got me this year."
We wanted to talk about some of the keys to chasing an AOY title, but first, before you came on, we talked about the Triple Crown. Did you even fish any bass events this year? You didn't have a shot at that, did you?
No, I'd qualified for the Classic. I think I fished one the year before at La Crosse. So I'd qualified at La Crosse, and then I fished Classic on Russell, and then that was the only one I fished this past year.
Okay, so there wasn't a chance for the Triple Crown.
No, but I think it ends first, so like there's still the chance for the round calendar, like Tiger Slam. So
okay, Tiger Slam, I like that.
Yeah, that's possible.
Okay. Depending on their schedule, could that change next year? Could you fish some more?
I'm planning on fishing. I'm wanting to fish the first couple of all of them next year and just kind of see how it goes from there.
What's your favorite event on the bass schedule?
They haven't released yet, Hoss.
Exactly.
Assuming that's there.
It's gonna make planning a little more difficult. We need a schedule, Bass, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Coming soon, just like our interview with the guy in charge, right?
Well, it's different now, Jeff.
I know.
It's different.
I know. We're patient over here. We're patient around these parts,
aren't we?
During the holidays. Todd Miner's crying in the comments, Ryan. I'll put the crying face up for you there.
Todd got to shoot some ducks the other day. He's fine. He'll be all right. You started duck hunting yet, Cody? It opens this weekend. You planning on getting out?
Last Saturday, but it was like the only good public land we had was pretty much hunting rivers. Like, we don't artificially flood any hardwoods in Arkansas anymore. So, like, as of last year, so there's not a lot of options other than just hunting the river right now. And I don't know. I think the crew I went with just shot a bunch of teal and wood ducks, so I didn't miss a lot.
I saw our governor-elect with a nice little photo op with a bag full of ducks. Down there on the river somewhere. She was posing with her shotgun, so
That's
good for her.
I like it. Better
Good
dust
for
her
her.
hands for powder residue, see if she actually pulled the trigger on that.
Let's talk about chasing these AOYs, man, because it's a different animal. I think we've talked about it on here before. It's hard to win them, whether it's a local trail, regional trail, national trail, like you just did. It's hard, no matter where you're doing it at. So, give us some of your keys to being able to stick with the grind and pull something like that off. KBF back-to-back years, right? You were last year's champ and then double dipping this year.
I don't know. I feel like even last year included, it was like I did almost all my work. It seemed like early in the spring, and then I like snuck one good smallmouth tournament in there. Like that had been my the last 2 years. I didn't get a good smallmouth tournament for the Hobie this year, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you can look at the last 3 to 4 years. Like, I'll kind of do well up until about May, and then I'll struggle for about 3 months, and then like may or may not have a good fall, like just depending on where we. But now, I mean, I don't know. It's not like I don't. I mean, I was kind of saying this earlier. I know I've talked about it on here, but it's just, most of the fisheries we go to, it's like they've been famous for too long. They're not really that good, so it's like just. Like, where you are goes along. Like Caddo's an exception. Like anyone can get excited about going to fish Caddo, but like you go to some of these obscure places, like it's or during a terrible part of the year, like no one wants to go fishing some of that stuff. But I don't know, just kind of
follow.
Yeah, like something like that. Like I love Eufaula. Like, I wish we were going back to Eufaula. Like that place was awesome.
Yeah, you can. We'll set up a tournament just for you down there, Cody.
Great example.
Online special.
I got 2 23s in 2 days.
I didn't get 23 inches of fish in 2 days on Eufaula. It's rough.
It is.
What was your favorite lake out of both trails? What was your favorite lake that you fished this year?
Caddo for sure. But I mean, the other second would be Santee.
Yeah, which are both similar setups as far as swampy flooded timber type stuff.
Yep. I don't know. I always enjoy Broken Bow. I mean, it's kind of like a good version of our Arkansas lakes is like the best way to put it. It's like a small scale version of these terrible lakes, like, Beaver, Bull Shoals and those things that like, I don't know, on a smaller scale where it's like, like you can put it together in a few days. So I don't know. I really enjoy Broken Bow and have the last few years.
I like Broken Bow a lot. I like the environment, should we say, there for the after hours entertainment. I like the lake. I like the fact that I only really had to know where one ramp was and just pedal from there. It's pretty simplistic. If they had better cell phone service, that's the only thing that I would change on Broken Bow is I don't need to stress out over, dehydrating and not getting my fish submitted.
Next year, we're going to get a hold of Elon. We're going to go with Starlink out there. Get some Starlink going.
I mean, that's the future, dog. That we'll be out there streaming. We'll be out there streaming live on Starlink.
Yeah. Garrett said no sleep, but he made it day 2. Thanks, Ryan.
Got to stick together.
He tries to drag down at least a portion of the competition leading up to the tournament.
he hitched to the wrong card on that one. Yeah, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Bob Baylor, he said Beaver and Bull Shoals are terrible. No, they're not terrible. Bob, what are you talking about?
No, I don't mean they're that terrible. I mean, if you're, you get 15 pounds, like you should go to weigh in any time of the year. You get you 12, 15 pounds, you should always go to weigh in.
I've been trying to brag on Bull, man. Don't be shooting it down.
You keep bragging on it, and I talk to other people, and they're like, "Man, that's a mediocre fishery. Mid-80s will do you good."
Oh yeah, it would.
Jeff,
I've been hearing cool things about the smallmouth down there. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but I have heard really good things about the smallies.
I think it's just a fun, especially in the spring. The 100 miles of buckbrush you can go flip and all the stuff you can do on bowls, just unique and fun. I think it'd be cool. And I'm biased. It's my favorite lake in Arkansas.
They're beautiful lakes. Yeah, they're so pretty.
Let me tag on to that question about the lakes, Cody. You said some of these lakes are overhyped, and we go back to the same old lakes because they're famous. Quotes famous. Yeah. What are some lakes that you haven't seen show up on these national tournament schedules that you think should?
Man, Cayuga was one of them. I've wanted to go up to Cayuga for about 5 or 6 years now. I think they got that one perfect. I don't know. I feel like we've been missing. We had it a little bit with Champlain a couple years ago. I feel like we've been missing like a big lake smallmouth tournament, and I know I missed out on Winnipesaukee, so that could be, some of that just personally me. But I don't know, missing like a big Lake Erie, Lake St. Clair, Mille Lacs. I know that's a little small, like something like that. I don't know.
I begged and pleaded to get St. Clair on.
It would be fun. Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is. Like, there's been tournaments held there before, so I don't know. Like, I guess they're saying you can't find a host city or municipality or something. I don't know. Bass has held tournaments there, so there's got to be somebody that gives some money for something.
Yeah, and I know the last couple times Bass has done it, though, they've like done it out of Kentucky, I think, which is like that whole southwest, that south end of Erie. So I don't know, and they were still running all the way to St. Stuff.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah, probably unique orders, things like that. But I don't know. A lake smallmouth tournament. I think that's like the one window we didn't hit a little bit.
Zach Wilson says Lake Cumberland, and Jay Wallen's always pumping that up as a smaller lake.
Always talking about it. But I think host location / municipality money may be a factor in that one as well.
We got some people throwing some stuff in the comments. Sturgeon Bay, Orange Lake, Florida.
Sturgeon Bay, got them smallies in Orange Lake, boy.
Yeah,
shoot.
Sturgeon Bay is legit. Bob Baylor says have the casinos sponsor Mille Lacs Roadrunner, running something out of Mille Lacs up there.
Yeah,
we'll see.
How many acres is Mille Lacs? I mean, that could hold a turn. I mean, obviously that'd be a long haul for a lot of people, but seems to have the quality of fish that you're looking for.
I don't think it has any like acre miles. Like I think like square acres has a lot, but I think shoreline miles is kind of minimal.
Just a big bowl, right? Big circle.
Yeah.
And I think some of those lakes up there, you're real weather dependent. Like you go up there and it's windy for 3 days, you just can't even have the tournament, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah. Oh, we got Dugout Bait and Tackle's Facebook page in the comments. Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
They're watching us, Ryan. The sponsors are watching us. We got to tighten things up around here.
How did we do this?
I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands now.
I'm wearing your shirt.
Yeah. No. So yeah, Cody, continue on with that mindset of trying to win AOY. Talk about that, the mental fortitude, whatever it takes. It sounds like you were saying you just leaned on your strengths early, like you like fishing the pre-spawn and spawn.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your mindset? Is just hammer your strengths and hold on for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I don't know, it felt like I was just holding on all year. I mean, I was still trying out there. It might not have always looked like it, but I don't know. I mean, just not even just like flat tires or like getting stuck. I mean, I was just like small things I see people get really frustrated about. If you really, I don't know, if you almost just laugh about them and like keep going about the day, it seems to like benefit me in a way better way. I mean, it's just little things like, breaking off 2 different things after you've retied a drop shot for the first time in 6 hours or something, like no one wants to retie another drop shot. Like, no. I don't know. It's just things like that. Like, I don't know, just kind of laughing about things when you probably could have been a little upset about them.
I'm sitting here thinking the AOYs, like Marshall, he's kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, although he does have his meltdowns, his bullshit.
No, Marshall is a roller coaster on tournament day.
Okay,
like he's the highest of highs and then the lowest of lows. Like he's ready to sell it all and go to the house, and then he moves ramps and catches 89 inches. Like he's a strange headspace on his performance.
And then we got Drew over there. Drew seems a little bit neurotic. I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not, but he's not like a roller coaster of emotions. He just is very analytical, you know what I mean, of what he's doing. So I don't know. I was trying to pigeonhole like a certain mindset to be good at winning AOY, but maybe that doesn't matter.
Similar fishing styles, though. I mean, I don't think any of us really use a graph too much. I guess they don't use them at all. I do use them some, but
Marshall used one in Sweden. I think that's the first time he's ever used a fish finder, but that's awesome. Solid.
Yeah, I like that.
We got some Texas lakes rolling in. OH Ivy.
Yeah.
Another run.
You're always talking about Ivy, but they said like cell phone service and hosting would be the main issue on Ivy.
Where there is nothing around.
I'd like to go. I just want to go fish it in the winter one time just to see the show.
Hawassi, OHI, Possum Kingdom. Did y'all like Possum Kingdom? I didn't go to that event. I didn't go to the championship that year. I know Mark set them on fire, but overall, did y'all like that lake?
No, I mean it was fine. I think people got like an overly insane view of what Possum Kingdom is. Lake rose like 16, 20 foot. A gin click turned to mud. Like they were shallow. I don't know. I think it could be a really tough lake in the like during the summer. I think it's pretty tough. Like a live scoping fest probably.
The guys that were out there that got to pre-fish some before the cutoff, I think they saw a different deal. Like obviously, you know, where Joe and Mark were, especially with all that current that was running through, stacked. Obviously, there's a plethora of giant fish that live in Possum Kingdom, but like Cody was saying, I think that kind of freak weather pattern event that we caught really stacked them up in a couple spots, and it might have overinflated some people's views. Like, I don't think we're going to see 117-inch bags every time we go back.
But I know, like, they were Matthew Scotch sent me I think they shocked out there in the fall not too long ago, and it was like ranked, you know, almost just as high or higher than, you know, any of those other top Texas lakes. So I mean, I know it does have them, but I feel like it's almost kind of got a little Ozark syndrome in it for Texas, like gin clear. I think a lot of the fish suspend out there on a regular basis, just chase shad around, don't hold to a lot. You know,
I was on a big flat down south, and there were just like random fish just scattered every couple hundred yards. There was no rhyme or reason to it at all, which is fine if that's where they want to live, I guess. But it was painful drifting a drop shot across that flat for hours.
I think I threw a Cinco the whole tournament too, so that's why I didn't love it.
Dude, I moved somewhere else nearby and started dragging a Cinco and started catching the shit out of them on the second day. And I was like, God, I hate when that, like, you know, it's so simple. You don't want to do it, but then you do it and you're like, God, that was so stupid. Red River and Sabine River, don't quit.
Louisville?
I like that. That'd be cool.
Levi's tripping talking about Louisville in July.
He sounds like what's that guy's name? Clifton Allen out here.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say nothing to Levi because he's a big old boy. I ain't gonna be ugly to him. I'm just saying.
Maybe it's only the Giants that like to fish Louisville.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Hey, Steve, Hobie Janitor's got a question for you, Cody. He said, now that 22 is over, winnings versus expenses, if he can ask. Reason I have, you had a great year and some good payouts. So how did it all equal out for you? Not, you don't have to give hard numbers, but did it, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely worked out pretty heavily. I mean, I think
it worked out.
I had 3 like $10,000 weekends on KBF, like not counting the national championship. And then I had probably 4, you know, several $1,000 weekends for Hobie. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing what I don't even know what some of these numbers are coming to right now. But
then you got the Hobie AOY prize, which was pretty hefty.
20 something at the national championship. Yeah, I mean, it would have been, you know, well over 50 something, I imagine.
And you got the KBF AOY prize coming in when that hits.
Yeah, that'll really
still going to be the same number, but
it's a write-off.
Be careful on that.
Becomes a write-off.
It's a good write-off
on that.
It's one of the bigger trophies I have. I will say that.
Yeah. Let's see. Garrett talking about Ouachita. The grass is coming back. Ryan's favorite lake, and the fishing is way better. If that's true, when I first moved here, Cody, way back in the day, back in the late '90s, Ouachita was legit, dude. I mean, it was full of grass, and the fishing was. That's where I learned to really fish. Was there?
Yeah. Yep.
And it's kind of taking a downturn. They had the largemouth bass virus, had some grass die off, so maybe it'll come back.
I thought I hated Ouachita until I went to Dardanelle. I completely apologize, Ouachita. I can't wait to see you again.
I just hope we get one good Arkansas tournament. And what's bad is I couldn't even tell you where. That's the sad. I couldn't even.
What's that lake with all the standing timber in it that I drive over going to Oklahoma?
That's Conway. It's not big enough for a 200-person event, but it could hold a championship.
It could hold.
It looks like a cool spot.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Conway's got them. It's got big ones.
It does.
Don't let Morgan in whatever tournament's there. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Hey, it's kind of like it's a little bit. It's more like Caddo than most Cypress Street lakes.
Yeah.
Like they're they're not always on the trees. They're in the grass half the time, and I feel like they're on the trees half the time. Kind of like Caddo.
Did you see that question from Nate? It was a good one.
Where's that? Okay, here we go. Yeah. What do you think makes your style so consistent, Cody?
It can change with weather. I can change with any day pretty effectively, I feel like.
You just slow that spinnerbait down? Is that all you do?
Yeah, I just like below to those spinnerbait on the cold days. No. The vein a lot. Like, man, I can move 3 to 4 times. I don't feel like a lot of times I'm giving up time. I don't always do that, but I don't know. Like being able to move quickly is something that I do. I don't know. I do value. But I mean, other than that, it's just like if something's not working, if something worked day one, like there's zero part of me that is even trying to make it work on the second day. Like
Really?
Zero part of me. Like, and I can't tell you how many mornings like I like pushing a buzzbait bite or something into the mid morning, like where I just caught a fish on a buzzbait and like I won't make another cast with it that morning because like I knew like that when that last one I got was already pushing it, and then I'll go to something else, and it's like, I know it's kind of a small example, but it's like it applies more in like the fall and spring when you have 3 to 4 to 5 different types of bites going on. Probably even more so in the spring. Like I feel like if you don't have 3 or 4 different bites going in the spring, like you're kind of hurting. But the summer it gets kind of stagnant. Like I feel like you just get a few good hours and then it's like a grind from there. I don't know. I never get excited about fishing during the middle of the summer for some reason.
That's interesting. Do you have like an internal clock? Like I'm throwing this for 15 minutes and I don't get a bite, I'm switching, or
I used to put time on things. Like more with colors. Like more I throw like a white buzzbait for 15 and then I'd throw a black one for 15 and then I'd switch back and forth and like, count the bites in between. But I don't do that probably as much as I used to do. But it definitely, I don't know, it really does work.
Man's got a science out here.
Yeah, well, now I am coming up with some commonalities between these AOYs, Ryan, because Jordan moves a lot.
Arkansas science.
Drew moves a
Jordan
lot.
moves a lot.
Drew moves a lot. Cody moves a lot. I need to start moving. Damn it. I got to get more mobile, I guess, Cody.
Yeah.
I count casts more than time, Jordan says. You do that, Cody? Count your casts?
Only when No, I count the time on Cinco cast. But never. I can't say I necessarily count the cast. No, usually more of a time frame. But there was a cool. I know. It was on like, I think it was Trait and Chris Zaldane had a podcast with Rick Clunn where it was they talked about like the amount of cast he made and like amount of times he was hung up during those casts. I don't know. That stuff is pretty interesting though. Like you don't realize how much time you're actually wasting during a day. Like if there's some anglers where if they actually fish for 8 hours during a day, like there's no telling what they would catch. Like it's so difficult to fish for 8 hours.
Dwayne Beatty over here, he's one of the fastest fishermen I've ever seen. Like he makes a lot of casts. I know Jordan does. I know Russ fishes. He makes a lot of casts, right? There's something to be said for that, man. I mean, more casts, more opportunities, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken more of that like KVD mentality. It's like 90% of the fish aren't biting, but I'm just looking for the 10% that are, and it's just those bites are, 1 in 10 between where they normally would be if they were biting. But you can still get some of them.
Yeah. Jordan says Rick Clunn talks about not changing baits so he doesn't make bad casts. Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. That's cool.
I usually have about 20 baits laying in the bottom of my boat after a tournament.
Yeah.
Unless they're actually biting like I thought they were going to, then I only have one rod in the boat.
I try to get through the switching through lures during practice. Like I'll run through a ton of lures in practice, like color variations and stuff. But like, I don't know, like usually if I get a couple bites on one of them and like they're biting a green pumpkin one way better, I don't know, I'll like think in the back of my head, well, maybe they'll switch to like this green shad, like a little off color or something. But I don't know. I don't play around with colors a lot during a tournament. It's usually more ahead of time. So
speaking of practice, what is your ideal number of practice days? And then how do you determine, which lakes need a little more effort? Is it more of a weather thing, or if you've been there before, like how do you determine your practice time?
It definitely kind of all those. I think 3 days is the perfect amount, though. I think you have one day. I don't know. In our sport, it's a little different, like because you really do kind of need a half a day of drive time. Like I don't care where you are, almost. Well, now we have been to enough of these places now where like I feel like I've eliminated that half a day on a lot of places, like like some of these Tennessee River places and whatnot. Um, but no, I mean, if you are not familiar with I don't know. I've gone about this a couple different ways. Like, I feel like you can either like pick on a map of places like you want to go see and then find a way to get to them, or you can find every possible way to launch and then you can kind of go from there. I've gone about it both ways, like throughout the whole years, and I don't know. I do think it works both ways. But no, I mean, just I don't know, knowing what the lake offers. Like if you know that ahead of time, you eliminate a lot of that pre-practice that a lot of people would be spending driving around looking at watercolor and things like that. But I don't know, like a lot of us have done this enough now. Like you might not know where you're launching, but I feel like you have a good idea what the trending bite should be, during the tournament, anyways.
Jordan's talked about people not knowing how to practice as far as landing and sore lip and fish. How do you go about that? You cut hooks off, just try not to set hooks, try not to even catch fish, just more
I
good areas.
2 out of an area. And I'll never, like if I catch 2 in a row, I never make a third cast. And then sometimes there's, not more there, and then sometimes there are. But I don't know. I feel like that's a good number. There is something to be said about catching a lot of, even if they're not the fish you're looking for, there's something to be said about catching a lot of 14-inch fish in an area that you plan to fish. Whether it's like stress hormones from releasing them, whatever. Like some people, I know a lot of people think that, but I think it's just, being in the area, kind of disturbing what's normal for the environment.
And you kind of reference launch locations. You're a guy that likes to look for off the beaten path or more difficult to access launch locations. What do you think about what you saw at the TOC as far as the rules changing to specified ramps? And then what do you think about going into next season as far as organizations incorporating more of that mentality into the rule set?
I mean, I love it. It essentially eliminates, like if you only get 2 days to practice, for me, that's a whole nother day that you're actually on the water practicing. Whereas this game over the last couple years to 3 years, like it has somewhat been dependent on what water you could actually get to from some launch that was just some public, Tennessee Valley Authority land or whatever it may be, some WMA land. Cause like, man, I mean, I used to not pay as much attention to that stuff, but I don't know. I mean, as much as I've hunted and used like Hunt on X, it was like, you might as well use the public land knowledge you have for fishing because it goes a long ways. Like if you spend a lot of time on national wildlife refuges or wildlife management areas, like most of those laws, like the NWR laws are like the same across the country. Like, but I mean, I know the state laws and things all vary, but yeah, I mean, you have to take advantage of those things. But I don't know. No, I would be just as thrilled with it not being a portion of the game, I guess. Because I mean, it's fun to look for, but it's also a waste of time more times than it isn't. And that's like the reality of it. I've wasted them, got stuck a lot more times than it actually worked out. I promise you that. So yeah, I mean, it would eliminate a lot. You'd be able to spend a lot more time on the water once you get to an event, I think is the bottom line.
Yeah, we've talked about it on here before of some of these rules trying to quote level the playing field. And I don't know, you're not level. We're not making it level as far as equipment and tackle and things like that. But when you start talking about time on the water and where you can access from and things like that, time to practice, those are things you can kind of level with the rule set. And it's not even a slight against anybody. It's just like, hey, everybody is with this rule set, and now let's roll it out there and see who can find those fish within these parameters. And I don't think there's a thing wrong with that. A lot of people took that when we started talking about that. They're like, oh, well, Drew was up a creek at Pickwick and how everybody's wanting to cut off the creeks. And I don't think it's about one or two people in particular. It's just about it's time to kind of standardize things as we move forward. Is that fair to say, Cody?
I think so.
I think once you hit this, the amount of coverage, media coverage, attention, sponsorship investments, I think we're at that threshold to where like at the top level of this sport, you gotta tighten the rules up. Like local grassroots stuff, running around, whatever. I don't think that you don't have to have a renaissance of the entire game, but I definitely think at the top level, it's time that we kind of shore it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for peace of mind for people as much as anything too.
I mean, we saw a lot of stuff go on this year, and we have in the past couple years. Like, I think the more question marks you can take out of it, the better it is for kayak fishing in general, because then you don't have these asterisks on stuff. If you can get that out of the way, then we're all better off.
Yeah, what I think as that stuff, like you just said, Cody, you saw that developing. And you're like, hey, these are the rules. I've got this app. I know the public lands. I'm gonna use this to my advantage, and that's awesome. Use whatever rule you can to your advantage. But you got these guys that are, I hate to say on the fringe, maybe new, maybe, you got a 200 angler field, maybe number 175 to 200 are on the fence about even putting their $250 in the pot. And they're like, well, man, I don't know how to find all that stuff. I'm not donating $200 to this damn thing. So when you eliminate that gray area, I think it brings a lot more people with a lot more confidence into it. And then it also eliminates all the excuses, because I think the same people will probably be at the top of the leaderboard, and you can't say, well, they were there for a month and a half and chainsawed their way back into 3 creeks and whatever. I mean, you can't really say all that if everybody's playing by the same book, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, it eliminates like other rule discrepancies in my opinion too. Like I don't know. It's like not even just the launch access. Like, I don't know. I mean, for one, like, I don't know what, I had a good time at our launch. Like we were listening to Born on the Bayou. It was fun. We had a little blast off.
Had a live band there. Were you at the launch with semi-nude Scotch by chance?
I was.
Were you?
I got to do that.
Oh my gosh!
We're still waiting for the video.
I'm still yeah. We have yet to see any media leaks from Scotch's day out.
Yeah, I hear it's coming. I don't know.
I can't wait. I texted him afterwards and didn't realize like the text didn't deliver, and it was like 2 days later. I text Christine. I was like, "Does Scotch still not have a phone?" She's like, "Nope." Just out there, lost in the world.
It's in the cloud. The images are in the cloud.
There's a lot of people taking pictures out at Caddo, just like with the harvester moon, eclipse, all that. He was definitely turning a lot of photographers' heads at the boat ramp.
Bless him.
Marshall had some lady in some like traditional Asian garb try to get in his truck at the boat ramp at Caddo apparently. And one of the Hobie photographers sent me a picture of her and her father out in a wooden boat paddling around there nearby. And I was Jordan? Like, that's wasn't it? It was Marshall, wasn't it?
I don't know. Jordan, confirm. You're in the comments. Confirm or deny that. It was either Jay or Jordan. I heard the same story.
I thought it was Jordan. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I think they thought they were part of the tour, part of the canoe tour.
I launched with Jordan the first day, but I didn't ever see him after that.
Did you see anybody in his truck?
It was not Jordan. I think it was Jay Bird.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. It was Jay then. Never mind. Sorry. Jay's in trouble.
He did not take any tour guide money that day. He did not do it.
At least you didn't get a spinnerbait in the leg then if it was Jay, so that's good.
That's right. Wild stuff at Caddo. Any more questions for Cody while we have them? Throw them in the comments.
Gosh.
I'll tag on to this, man. We talked about your mindset and things like that, but you ain't got to give us the full juice. Everybody knows you like throwing a spinnerbait, but 3 lures that kind of carried you through the season.
I would say an accent spinnerbait and a Mega Bass Junior jerkbait, +1, and a Slither rig by Strike King.
Okay.
That'd be my 3. I would say
Slither rig.
Yeah, things better.
Edwin was throwing one of those suckers. I was like, "What in the world is that thing?"
Yeah, I don't know. I actually won my first angler of the year. I caught like every fish on a Slither rig that year.
What?
It's pretty well been in the box since 2017 or 8.
Crazy.
Everybody's Google Slither rig now. I'm doing it.
Usually
that and those little
actually
those little gizmo wasps are gonna sell out in moments.
Still haven't showed up at my door. I ordered them right after that tournament. I'm still.
Jamie's got some in stock at the Dugout Bait and Tackle right now. I held them in my hand last week.
Maybe that'll fall under the hard bait.
Just tell him to squeeze it and see if he thinks it's hard or not.
Hey, on Friday, I think you can get it on anything in the store.
Okay.
So 25%.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shoot your shot, man. Shoot your shot.
Slither rigs and all. And Zach Wilson
Slither
seconds the +1 junior jerkbait. That is a killer, especially around these parts, Cody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Table rock shad usually.
I need to throw a jerkbait more. I like throwing it early spring, like when they're pushed up shallow chasing shad and it's way too cold to be out there. For some reason, that's the only time that I'm like, let's do it. Let's get them on the jerkbait. Other than that, I'm like, it doesn't exist.
It didn't feel like they stopped biting it. Like it was like they bit it early in the year and then it just like continued the whole
I
season.
don't think they do stop biting it, but that's my thing is I don't know why I stopped throwing it.
Like over the last couple of years, live scopes just kept a jerkbait in everyone's hands.
That's true.
Like,
and I think my resistance to that is probably a lot to do with why I don't want to do it. I don't want to just pedal around staring at the screen all the time. I don't want to not have live scope, but I don't want that to be like integral part of every tournament.
I
wish somebody would have live scoped Scotch swimming for his phone. That'd have been legit.
Dude, that would have been big money right there.
It might have been more of a perspective mode capability. I don't know.
Oh, that's tough though. Anytime you have to get out and get in the water when it is not a comfortable temperature, when it's not to cool off on purpose, that makes for a long, miserable day of fishing.
He caught his 2 biggest fish butt naked though afterwards, I believe. So maybe he should have went.
It needs to be in the rules next year. I need to add a no fishing naked.
PFD and pants required.
Yeah. No pants, no service. Come on.
Oh my gosh. What are your let's do your 2 most memorable moments from this tournament season?
Man, the first one would probably be when I dropped my keys in the water, Lake Eufaula. Like, so I've been there for an hour, got back to the boat ramp. This was like Tuesday. Like, I had just got there, like Tuesday afternoon, and realized that I broke my window. I realized I didn't leave my car, and I was like, I called Russ. I was supposed to camp with him. I was like, dude, I've got nothing. Like, I'm stuck at this ramp way up north. And he came and got. I fished out of Cowicky Creek for the next 6 days after that, and made Cowicky Creek home, and it was all right. That would probably be I don't know. It was one where it was like, I don't know. I could have been so fresh by it. It just like, I don't know. I was already maybe so lost at the time that it made sense. It was like, well, at least I can spend the last 5 days in apparently the best creek in this place, and it was. I think. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But I don't know. I mean, the Matthew losing his phone in the water is definitely fresh on my mind right now. That one would be a close second because, I mean, I didn't see it happen. I turned around and knew what had happened, and I don't know. It's like, what do you say? Like, I didn't feel like I could say anything. Or like anything I said, I just sounded like a jerk. So,
how many times has it happened? This isn't the first. I remember on Kentucky Lake, one happened when he had like a big bag in his hand.
Yep. And I mean, like, he didn't have a giant bag at the time, but like that hour he was searching, I definitely caught the majority of my fish. For it.
You heard it here first, folks. Scotch Naked ranks above both AOY trophies as most memorable moments of the year.
The whole year.
I don't know what to say without crossing some kind of line. I'm just gonna let this one go. I think.
No, I'm just kidding. No, that's insane. There was a comment. Look at this comment, Ryan Jordan. If you ain't scoping, you're hoping. All of a sudden, he's a dang live scope aficionado over there.
He's about it.
There was another question. Steve Fields. He said, tackles questions, reels, line, rods. What do you roll with? Do you have a hodgepodge? Or are you with particular companies on each one of those?
So I have only Dobbins rods now for the last year and a half or so, and I've loved them. I mean, I think here at Caddo and at the National Championship, I caught every single fish on a 683 casting rod or a 683 CB, like little crankbait rod. Like I caught most of them all on a DT4 at Kentucky Lake, and I don't know. I mean, it's perfect for creeks. It's perfect for rivers, and with those cypress trees and a rod, like you don't have to be far away from those trees. Like you can sneak up on those fish a lot more than you think you can. I mean, especially turning everything off. Like, I mean, I kept all my graphs off all week. But no, I don't know. Yeah, the Dobbin 683, that thing has been like mind blowing to me the last couple months. Shimano Corrado on everything, just different gear ratios. I usually use 14-pound Gamma on my spinner bait, but I use Sunline on cranking rods. Use like 14-pound Sunline on some cranking rods, but 25-pound Gamma on all my slither rig fish. I don't ever mess around with the slither rig.
25. Okay.
Yeah, I love braid, but I like I can bend out a flipping hook with 25-pound Gamma.
Wow.
Stuff's like, yeah. But
I've seen some different trains of thought on that, talking about throwing fluoro on flipping rigs, especially around wood, because braid will dig up in the wood, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, as much as anything, it's like if you're not amazing at flipping, and I mean, not like you should use fluorocarbon regardless. Like, it's definitely like it's a little bit of a handicap. Like, they won't drop it immediately if you hold the weight on them like they will with braid. Like, I feel like you get another second or two with them with fluorocarbon.
Good tips. I like that. Any more questions? Let's see. We got some people throwing some comments in here.
Yeah, I was reading through all the.
Yeah, the ramp you lost your keys at is the ramp that won the tournament. Is that right?
I thought it was, but I don't know. I was talking with Bailey earlier, and I think that maybe he was at another one like right up the road or something. So I thought it was. I think maybe it was just a sign to stay there the whole week. I don't know.
Yeah. Steve asked earlier, is that spot going to be a parking lot for the Caddo event coming in the spring? But I don't think it'll be the same kind of deal. Those fish aren't good.
Yeah.
Buddy, that springtime, that lake is nuts. You can't go there and have a bad time in the spring.
No. It really doesn't where you go either. Like, they spawn on that lake.
We did probably, it was like a 14-mile loop pre-fishing a couple years ago for the national championship. There was like 12 of us just out to have a good time on the last day of practice. And we probably caught, I don't know, 25 fish over 20 inches in that loop, just everywhere. Yeah, a foot shallow, out in the middle. Like, I mean, there's so many big fish in that lake, and they all just get up there in a hurry to lay their eggs. That's going to be, I don't know. Santee could have the biggest bag, but I have a hard time thinking Caddo won't put up the biggest spring bag.
Yeah, it'll be the biggest. Like, most bags over 90 will for sure be broken at that tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna let you get out of here, Cody. But what do y'all think about the season, the BOS season next year, wrapping up on Sam Rayburn? I think that's a hell of a place to wrap the season up.
Me too. The only time I got to spend time on Rayburn was like the middle of January for like 4 hours, and when we fished at 20-foot high. And yeah. I don't know, you've probably fished as many 20-foot high lakes as I have, Jeff. Like, they all get around here, and generally a lake gets that high, it's pretty tough to catch fish, and that tournament was very easy to catch fish. So that is, I don't know, a telltale sign of how many fish are in that lake, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
I want to see it how it's supposed to be, because like you said, I mean, that was so much water, and like I was catching them off people's chain link fences in their backyards and stuff.
But
so
I mean,
obviously it's going to be a different ball game.
Like, everyone was still catching them though, which just blew my mind about that tournament. Like, usually you get super high water tournaments like that, like they're just not everywhere, but man, it seemed like if there was open water, like you could catch fish out there. So it should be good. No, I guess it's been a poor grass year, I've heard from a couple different people, but sounds like the common theme everywhere.
That's everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Cody. Well, we'll let you get out of here, man. Congrats on both AOYs. Impressive as always. Repping Arkansas the right way. Appreciate you, buddy. Well, I'm sure we'll have you back on here before long with some other victory speech.
I hope so.
Yeah, you'll probably win the power rankings again.
Yeah.
Assume.
Be watching for that. Come see.
Let Jeff get his magic calculator out, and he'll let you know shortly.
It sounds good. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man.
All right, see you, man.
Cody Milton, everybody.
Class act. Super knowledgeable.
How many times have we had him on here, Ryan? He's had to be on here half a dozen times now, at least.
At least, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, Cody's the man. He's always a threat, and it's like I said, it's almost criminal how we overlooked him at the end of that TOC deal.
I don't know. In my head, if you weren't in the top 10, you weren't in the running for AOY is how my mindset was going at the TOC standings, and that's my fault. I apologize.
Rich in the comments said he shared some good juice. He did. He sure enough shared some good juice. Cody's one of those knowledgeable, very knowledgeable anglers that doesn't mind sharing. So it's good stuff. Good stuff.
I don't know why Joe Kirk is throwing out like every dinky body of water in the Chattanooga area here. He's wanting to go national next year, so I guess he's just trying to make sure national means local to him. So
It's easy
good try,
when you
Joe.
call it
No one
national and
cares.
drive 2 hours, right? It makes it easy. That's good stuff. Well, Ryan, I ain't got much else. What about you, man? I know it's Thanksgiving week. I hope everybody has a fun, wonderful Thanksgiving with their families out there.
Got a million things to do. Cam's birthday tomorrow. Got a dinner planned, so I'm gonna be on my best behavior.
There you go, man. Well, happy birthday, Cam, from the nation.
Oh yeah.
There you go. All right, we'll wrap it up. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Go buy you some stuff on Black Friday at dugoutfishing.com, 25
Yeah.
KBN. Look it up.
We'll be back Monday.